Hi, and welcome to Fantastic Books and How to Write Them. Today's short is on POV and the power of voice. How do you decide what point of view to take as a narrator? The short answer is, it depends. Epic fantasy adventures like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Lewis' Chronicles of Narnia, and Rowling's Harry Potter are best served by a third-person narrator because of their vast world building that would be difficult to communicate through a single character. It's unlikely that any one protagonist would be that informed, that well-traveled, that all-seeing, especially when you consider that the protagonist is usually the one encountering this world or new parts of this world for the very first time. Frodo, for example, first leaves the Shire during the Fellowship of the Ring. The Pevensey children first discover Narnia via a portal in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Harry is first introduced to the Wizarding World in The Sorcerer's Stone. And if you're following around multiple casts of characters, an omniscient third-person narrator can be everywhere at once. But what if your world is much smaller and your story centers on just one character? Then you may want to single in on their subjective experience. Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games, for example, features a far simpler and more navigable dystopia, as opposed to the sweeping scope of Middle-earth, and so all relevant details can realistically be relayed by its heroine, Katniss Everdeen. Her psychological landscape is the real site of world building, and so it's her voice we need to hear. There's also the lesser-known second-person POV, oftentimes used in what's called the epistolary model. This is when a story, or a part of a story, is told through the character's letters, diary entries, and other forms of written communication. Bram Stoker's Dracula is composed in this narrative style. But second-person POV can mean any narrative voice that is speaking to you, whether that's you, the reader, or you, another character. As you might imagine, this approach can lend a feeling of intimacy, whether because the narrator is talking directly to us, or because we're being made privy to private communications, such as journal entries and love letters. When choosing a point of view, we need to consider where the seat of perspective should reside, whether it's best situated with the interior or the exterior, the inner or outer worlds of the characters. No perspective is without its limitations. Even the omniscient voice is finite. First person speaks for I, and that gives us a level of insight into the mind of the character narrator that third person never could. Second person speaks to you, and that directness can proffer the illusion that the reader is a participant in the story. Multiple contributors can fill out plot points, supply world building, offer their personal accounts, but even this vast variety of interior and exterior data must defer to the bounds of what these character narrators would logically know. Third person speaks about they, and so allows for coverage of numerous characters and events, but third person can only act as an observer and informer, only ever speaking on behalf of characters. Though it can report on thoughts and emotions and relay internal monologue, it can never character build the way first person does. Each POV has the power of a different voice, from the all sight of the third to the inner sight of the first. The only question is, which superpower will you choose? Please stay tuned for more fantastic books and how to write them. In the meantime, just keep writing.